Hello guys, my name is Paul. I am a Cal Poly Pomona student that's on the robotics team for the UAV BANSHEE project that is funded and sponsored by Lockheed Martin and Robotis. Today I'm going to show you how to set up the protocols and environment on your system, whether it's a virtual machine or if you have a Linux-based operating system, you can set it up, and so you can run some of our contour, adaptive threshold, and camera filters that we implemented that allowed our robotic arm to view and track certain things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off by going to my browser. And once I'm in my browser, I'm going to pull up our GitHub page right here. Alright. So once I'm on this GitHub page, you can see down here are the setup protocol dependencies that you can follow, that you can install on your own time if you don't want to watch the video. So here are these right here. But once you reach this page, what you're going to do is you're going to head on over to the releases side on the right hand page here. You're going to click the 3 tags, and you can see that on the version 7 label bot public version, there's 3 assets down here. And what you would want to do is you want to download this zip folder, the release v0.7. You're going to save the file, and then it's going to wait for the file to download. As you can see here, it's downloaded completely. So I'm going to show all downloads here. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract this. And we want to pick a location for extraction. You can extract it at home if you want. So right now, I think I'm at home here. So I'm going to extract it here. Let's just say home. So I'm on home, extract it at home. And I successfully extracted the file to home. So close that, close everything here. And I'm going to go to my files and see that on the home page I have a release version 0.7. Now that we got that installed, let's set up our environment and our protocols. So you're going to open your terminal here. And what you're going to start off with, you're going to start off by updating your Linux machine if you haven't done so already. So what you can do is you can say sudo apt get update. And then since you're using sudo, it'll prompt you for your password. And after you enter in your password, it will just update your virtual machine to the latest update. And so that now that's done, we can move on to the next one, which is install the latest Python version. You can do this even in 1 or 2 ways. You can do sudo apt get install Python 3 like this. That will install the newest version. Or you can do is you can install the newer ones, 3.9 directly. So Python 3.9 is already the newest version right there. So you can either do Python 3, install Python 3. If you want to install the newest version of Python, you can use Python 3.9 when this video comes out. And then what you're going to do is if you want to check to see if your computer has Python, you can do Python -- version and my Python 3 version. And you can see that my Python version is 3.8.10. So I got that. All right. So next up, we want to install the Python pip installer. This is pip is used to help us manage Python packages. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo apt get install Python 3 pip, and we'll do Python dev. As you can see here, our Python pipe is already to the newest version of Ubuntu, so mine has already successfully been installed. After I finish installing the pip install, I can do pip install numpy. And what Numpy actually does is it's a general purpose array processing package that provides high performance multi-dimensional array objects. So if you're using arrays, we are using arrays in our project, so that's why we are incorporating Numpy. But as we can see that the requirements are already satisfied, so Numpy successfully installed on our machine. Next that we have here is going to be installing the Opencv library. So we're going to do pip install Opencv Python. And Opencv means Open Computer Vision, so though that's optimized for computer vision. So we can see here that the requirements are been satisfied with Numpy, and the requirement for Opencv has also been satisfied to this current version right there. So once we download and install Opencv Python, we're going to go into pip install inutils. So pip install inutils. Now, inutils is a series of convenience functions to make image processing functions, just as translation, rotation. This is used to make our images scale a certain way we want it to be. So that's how we need this Python library here. And then once it installs, it'll say the requirement has been satisfied there. And what next we can do is we're going to install the TK library. The reason why we need the TK library is because we're going to be dealing with graphical user interfaces. So we need the TK library to help us with that. So we're going to go with pip install TK. Okay, the requirement is satisfied. It's already been installed. And after installing TK, we want to install the Python 3 TK just in case. So we go install Python 3, and then we're going to go, actually, we want to get administration, so we go sudo apt get install Python 3 TK. So you can download that right there. It's already been installed. It's up to the newest version. So currently when this video comes out, it'll be at this version here. And then next is we're going to install our pill image TK. This will help us grab some images that we will be using for our GUI. So we will do sudo apt get install Python 3 pill.image TK. Make sure you spell it right. There you go. Now once you've finished that, that's already done. And the final thing to do is to install the Matplot library. The Matplot library is a library that is a low-level graph plotting library in Python that serves as visualization. So it's just for visual purposes only. So in order to install that, we would go pip3 install Matplot library. Okay. Once you're downloaded, it was this requirement already satisfied, and that's all that you have to do. Alright, we have successfully downloaded all of our protocols, dependencies, and libraries, so it's time to run the code. Currently, I am in my home library, so to see all the files and folders, I can type in ls, enter, and you can see here that all the files are in green and all the folders are in blue. I want to change my directory to the release version 7, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in cd and re, press tab for autocomplete. You can also manually type this, but since this release folder is a little special, you can press tab for it to autocomplete. And once it's autocomplete, you can press enter, and it's done. Now, once it's done, you can type in ls again to see all the files. And what you can do here is you can see all our files right here, official v7.py and serv2.py. We don't want to access our calibration file because this is all for the official v7, and you don't want to access the icons because those are just some icons that we use for our GUI. The two files we want to run are the server v2.py and the official v7.py. In order to run the official v7.py, you have to run the server v2.py. So in order to run that, you just type in python 3 server v2.py, press enter. Once you press enter, you can see here that it's listening on that host ID right here. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go to new window, and you're going to change directory into this again. So change directory to release, and you want to type in ls to see all the files. And currently the server v2 is listening on that host ID. So what I want to do is now I want to run the official v7.py. Now if I were to run it just like this and press enter, it can see that there's a usage error saying that it needs the host ID right here. So that's where this number comes into play. What we do is we can pull up the command again by either pressing the up arrow on your keyboard, and after you type in official v7.py, you are going to type in the host ID, and once successful, it will bring you up this remote control. Alright guys, now that you see this version of our remote control, you can try and play around with it, but currently with this release and the functionalities that we put out, the correct distortion homology algorithm, the move arm, and the send test package cannot be accessed because you need hardware for these. So you can only play around with displaying the frame, display mask, detective algorithm, toggle contour, and Hsv track bars. Now, if I were to just press randomly on this, you see that it will throw me an error right here inside the terminal. It says no changes are shown because we have to open the frame. So it's important to open the frame first before using any of these features. So if I were to display the frame right here, you can see that in my frame I have some objects that I'm looking at. So on the left hand side here, there's a calculator, and on the right hand side there's some mechanical pencils. Now once you got the frame activated, you can activate the mask. So this is the mask right here that shows you all the contours, which is just the perimeter of the object. So you can see it maps out the perimeter of the objects right there. And you can see side-by-side comparison. And what you can do next is you can toggle the algorithm. It's either adaptive threshold or Hsv filter. So currently we were on adaptive threshold. That's how you can see all of this right here. And if I were to swap into Hsv, we can see something like this right here. Now, what I would recommend is you should not press this toggle contour button, because what would happen to this is that if you press the toggle contour button, it will actually break the code because we don't have the Arco fiducials here. So since it's not present in the camera, it will just break the code itself. So I would not press the toggle contour. You can mess around with the detection algorithm adaptive, as you can see here, or you can switch to Hsv. Now once you switch to Hsv, you can get this really cool looking thing. It looks like everything's static, and it's because the camera is only looking at certain colors and it's trying to blur out the rest. So in order to control the Hsv, what you can do is you can press the Hsv track bars right here. And upon pressing it, we can see that the mask is reset. That's because the hue, saturation, and value are all at 0 or maxed. So you can see that on our frame, the image is still there. Let's say if I were to change the hue, you can see that it's starting to pick up some colors. If I change the saturation, it's picking up some color. If I change the value, it's starting to pick up certain colors. So it looks like it's picking up a blue or purple color at the moment. And with Hsv filters, you can filter out any color that you wish. So right now I'm filtering out colors that are on the darker end of the spectrum. So purple and blue are the only ones that you can see. If, let's say, I want to filter out orange, I can play around with that. So make hue lower. Maybe increase my value. Maybe saturation a little bit. I think saturation can decrease a little bit. Maybe change value is good. So even though we can't really omit orange itself, but you can see that it's emitting certain colors there, and it's displaying what it wants to see. And you can test this on many objects and see if you can figure out the hue saturation values for each of them and have fun playing around with it. You're more than welcome to modify our code and play around with whatever you think is possible, and let us know what you've done so we can talk about or take into consideration for our next project so that we can improve on detection algorithm, either adaptive threshold or hue saturation value. Anyways, guys, this is Paul, and I'm glad that you guys learned something today. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.